bring in Sportsnet's Luke Gazdic right now. Luke, great to see you, man. Thanks again for taking the time and the season that it was. Of course, this is the last hurrah, so we'll do our goodbyes near the end. But kicking things off, our show ended yesterday with the Kane deal. No retention. I think that's the big thing in this. Where do you come out on that whole deal from I guess, both sides, both the Canucks and the Oilers, obviously shipping Kane off and no money retained and a fourth?
Good riddance, honestly. I was a fan of Evander for a time, to be honest. He really rubbed me the wrong way in the Stanley Cup Finals, I think. Some of the actions and the extracurricular stuff, and I mean, he was trying to play a good role, but the penalties were a little much. And I just think it's time, it's a good time for the team to move on. They need to get some cap space to move forward and get this team going in the right direction. So I guess now I was just about to say now he's Vancouver's problem. I don't think he's a problem. I just think, at a certain time, the relationship between the team and the player is done. And it feels like that way for Evander. Now it's time for them to go out, and I don't know what they're going to do. I was listening to you guys earlier about scoring wingers for Leon, and I'm not sure what they're going to do, but shedding $4 or $5 million certainly helps that.
Yeah, and that helps. And I think with Kane, too, you kind of mentioned that's kind of followed his career where, the expiration date kind of comes quick. It's good at first, and I think, again, the unicorn that he is, but you're bang on with, almost a bit of a liability in the final, really, as opposed to what you wanted from him. And I thought it was ceremoniously when he get the misconduct and leaving Game 6 and going down the tunnel. I mean, that kind of signed off to me that it was the end. And going back to the forward group and seeing what they have, I mean, they still, again, no money retained. You got to get the Bouch deal. The Frederic deal still needs to come. We're expecting an Arvidsson shoe trade to drop here any time. But do you have kind of a short list or a wish list, if you will, of who they might bring in or who you could identify that would fit with this group, and specifically Leon?
It's a great question. I think the guy that is kind of wishful thinking not going to happen is probably Ehlers. Like, I see Ehlers and Leon together would be an absolute force. I think the speed that he would bring into that second line would be unbelievable. I do think they should work on getting Connor Brown re-signed and done. I don't know how much he's looking for or how much he's asking, but internally, I think that's a guy that they need back in the room. And part of that, outside of that, man, like, you're looking at guys like Granlund, and it's funny now because now that I'm looking down, and this is what I guarantee you every GM in the league is doing, like, as I'm looking down going, does this guy make sense? Does this guy make sense? The question isn't, doesn't this guy make sense for your lineup? Is it, does this guy help us beat the Florida Panthers? Yeah. Does this guy help us beat Florida, or does he hurt us? Like, and so I'm going through every guy and I'm like, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. And the other one that I landed on was Granlund, but in the long run, it's like, I am very much on the page of, I think you're going to see a round 3 of the Stanley Cup final. I said it after the first one. I'm like, I bet you these two teams, we're going to be right back here in Moss Pit next year. And there we were. And I truly believe, like, if either of these teams, if there's not a lot of sag from either teams throughout the regular season, I just think we're headed for a 3-time collision course here. So whoever you're going out to sign and whoever you're going out to trade for, that's why, like, I'm going to kind of go all over the place here, but like, even in net, like, we're talking about Joel Hofer and like RFA, or like offer sheeting and RFA, like Joel Hofer, or bringing in a guy like Devin Levi. Do we really want to bring in a guy that doesn't have the experience at that stage or at that level, that a guy that's barely played any playoff hockey, like, has been through a run, but like, I know not a lot of goalies out there have that. And then you're looking at the Jake Allens, and I don't even know if John Gibson does that for you. So it's really tough for me looking at this right now as I approach free agency for Sportsnet in 5 days, and having to kind of shore up some of these details. It's like, everything Edmonton should be doing from this point moving forward should be to help them beat the Florida Panthers, because that is the eventual opponent for the foreseeable future.
Is that something you do in the offseason, though? And I'm just playing devil's advocate here. If you look at the moves that they made in last year's offseason, very few of them paid off. However, all the moves that they made in season seem to have a positive impact. The exception being Vasily Podkolzin, who I think was a surprise for this organization. But outside of that one sort of, let's call it a minor sort of move, nothing really seemed to work as far as what they did in the offseason.
Yeah, it's a great point too. You don't win the Western Conference, you don't win a Stanley Cup in the summer. The biggest example of that for me is I'm learning a lot on TV doing this. Like I got on last year after Nashville signed Brady Shea and Steven Stamkos in March or so, and I'm like, this team's going to win the Central. Like this power play is going to be top 3 in hockey. Like what are we talking about here?
You are not alone.
Oh,
I know, and it's just like, you know what? Colby was beside me, and I'll give Colby credit. And Justin Bourne was in with us too. And Bourne was the big one that was like 3 guys on the end of their, like just the end of contracts of their career. Are you kidding me? So like, I didn't foresee that one, but you're completely right. Like you don't win or lose anything in the summer. I think they took a shot on 3 guys. I really like Jeff Skinner as a guy. I never loved that signing just because you're looking at a team that needs to get over the hump in the playoffs. So we sign a guy who has never played in the playoffs.
Right.
Like that was just one for me. That Arvidsson was the one that I was really disappointed not working out, because that was one where I was like, this guy and Leon are going to be clicking. You have a little dog like Hyman. So you're right. It's not one in the summer, but they really do have a couple chances and probably a couple swipes at guys that are going to help a lot down the line here. So interesting to see which way they go. I'm just as curious as you guys are.
And perhaps maybe that's the route you do take with goaltending. I know that this fan base is kind of, they've had enough and they need a change for change's sake. That's what we keep hearing. But you roll into the season with Skinner Pickard again, see what kind of comes up, and maybe, just maybe, that acquisition is made based on performance and a little later down the line during the season. Would you have time for that? Like, is that a need that you need addressed here in the offseason for you?
I just don't think people should be surprised if the Edmonton Oilers game 1 next year have Skinner and Pickard in their net.
Yeah.
I don't think that should come as a surprise to people. And I'm not saying that's because I want it or because I think that's what they should do. They're just going to have to get super creative. Like the goaltending market is super thin out there. There are sub 10 goaltenders in the NHL that you can trust on a nightly basis. And you need a guy that you can trust on a daily basis to win you a Stanley Cup. Like we're not talking about Jake Allen here. And this is no offense to any of these guys. It's just like James Reimer. Like, what are we talking about here? Are we really going to go after John Gibson, who's been in Anaheim for his whole career, has struggled with lower body injury stuff for his entire career? He's not Canadian. That like is not a selling point for him coming up to Canada. Like you're coming back home where he played or anything like that. So it's going to have to get a little tricky and a little interesting for them to make something happen. Like I'm huge on the Hofer. I think the Hofer thing is just like a hilarious situation that could end up happening. And I really do think he's a hell of a young goaltender, but like, are you going to put all your eggs in one basket on a young goaltender who is unproven? And maybe, is he in the long run, is he better than Stu? It's just, this is the stuff that I'm sure they're going through as well, but I just wouldn't be surprised if you're back there game 1 with the same guys. I really, the more that I look at it and the more that I think about it, I'm not sure what they're going to do.
Are we also are we programmed because of the hockey we all grew up with to think that the goaltending position is more stable than it really is league wide? Like it used to be that you could name 12 goaltenders that on any given night could steal a game for their team. And I just don't feel like that's the case anymore. I mean, we saw the Dallas Stars flame out of the playoffs with them blaming Jake Ottinger for it, right? So it's not like the Oilers are sitting alone with questions in between the pipes. It seems like every team out there, aside from maybe 3, isn't exactly sold on their goaltending.
100%. I say this all the time. This goaltender position is the hardest in sports probably. And it's just such a unique position. It was a big proponent in me. I don't have a vote, but I really thought that Dustin Wolf should have won the Calder Trophy this year because I don't think people understand how much and how much he accomplished at such a young age and such a tough league.
He is screwing over that team, by the way.
I know he, you know what? And I like, you know what? Those boys worked really hard this year, but he made them look a lot better than they were. I'll tell you that. But you're right. And then you have guys like Connor Hellebuck, who it's like unstoppable in the regular season, and then when the playoffs come, it's like a different goaltender. Right. So now you got to find a guy that's a playoff contender. There are, like I said, maybe sub 5 guys in the league that I would trust in there on a nightly basis, and you can name them on the back of your hand, man. 3 of them are Russian.
Yeah,
one just won 2 Stanley Cups in a row, and it's just a very tough position to find consistency. And I will say, if this is a devil's advocate question, I am watching the tandem, the 1A, 1B style in Toronto here, up close and personal with Joe Woll and Anthony Stolarz. I don't like that either. I know it's like it's a wish, but if you're a player, to have a singular goalie in your dressing room that you look around, I say this a lot on TV, but when you're tying up your skates and you look around the room and you look at your starting goaltender and you know he's going to give you a chance to win every night, that is a feeling you cannot replicate. It is unbelievable. Or after a first, when you come in and you look over and your goalie's silent, you know, because he's in the zone, you're just like, boys, we score 2 or 3 tonight, we're good. That's an unbelievable feeling. And I just hope the Oilers can get there someday, because I honestly think there's multiple. Well, you guys know this. There probably would have already been multiple cups if there was maybe a little more stable goaltending. So we'll see.
Sportsnet's Luke Gazdic with us. Just a few more points here, Luke, before we let you go here. I think Connor Brown too was looking at term. I think that was something that he was hoping for to get. I don't know if that affects your mood in bringing him back.
Yeah, and he should too. He should.
Oh, absolutely.
He's that age. He's earned it. I just don't know. I know they were talking about the Duchesne one, 4x4, looking for that kind of term. If it's on the right number, we'll see. But sorry to cut you off.
But Evan Bouchard, speaking of term as well, a few, I guess, snippets out there that a 4-year deal might be around the bend. What are your thoughts, I guess, on that and in terms of the term for Bouchard, and how you kind of see this deal materializing here for the Oilers in his camp?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, he's getting paid.
Yes.
He's getting paid, and he's going to be an Oiler for a long time, and he should be. And you know what? It's funny because I don't call myself an insider at all. I just hear a lot. Like I'm in hockey circles a lot. So whenever I tell you guys, it's just stuff from hanging out with people. You guys know this number's above 10. It's probably closer to 11. It's a lot of money, and I think he deserves it. No, I don't think he deserves it. He deserves it. But that's where the juggling is going to have to start to come after this happens. Leon goes up this year. Nursey's already, you have 21 between 2D now, 22 between 2D. That's not an ideal situation to have. So they'll get him done. I don't think there's going to be any problem in getting this done, and it's going to be a big one, boys. It's probably going to be 8x11, 8x10.5, something like that. So we'll see it materialize. I think they want to get it done before the draft, but they're running out of time, so we'll see. Yeah,
not enough time in this. When you make it to Game 6 of the Cup final, we were talking. Usually the off seasons were, half a year long for us in covering this team. But
I was part of them. I was part of them where we signed like 6 guys. We're like, oh, this is the year. We signed Benoit Pouliot and frickin' Teddy Burstall. I love you two boys. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one.
Nikitin for you.
If, because of what happened last offseason, if take your pick, if a Utah comes in and pays an Evan Bouchard $13 million over 7 years, and you have the ability to let him walk and get 4 straight first overall draft picks, do you do that?
Yeah, I think you let him walk, and then you go sign Aaron Ekblad, trying to find a getaway and try and maybe scoop Noah Dobson out of the island or something like that. I just think no, that's so interesting too. I can't wait for this summer. Some stuff happens
because 4 first overall draft picks that's actually a decent return
for this cupboard as well. I know,
and it's not even like you're going to use those picks, but you could flip those picks instantly for something that's going to help your team right away. I'm a huge Aaron Ekblad guy, and I understand that's not the greatest thing to say after beating the team that obviously you guys we're talking about here 2 years in a row. I just think he would be so good for that decor. He really impressed me in the way I analyzed the game and the way he defended Connor and Leon and these guys. I just know that it's not really in the cards with how much money they have. So
should be interesting. Thanks for sharing your time and your thoughts today and this season, Luke. We appreciate it. It's too bad Dusty's not here to give you a goodbye.
Yeah, I do have something that, you guys had like a segment earlier getting fired up.
Yeah,
like
fired up for Gemco Fireplaces. Yeah.
Hey, so I'm here in Toronto. I am a big Raptors guy. I love basketball, and I'm a big Raptors guy here. So you see the kid from South Carolina got drafted last night, and on TV, he verbally drops the F-bomb. Not happy, obviously, to get drafted north of the border. We are raising a generation of entitled brats. Can you imagine getting drafted to the best league in the world and being upset about that? Can I imagine being on the draft floor at the NHL draft and Utah drafting me and dropping an F-bomb on live TV because I was mad that Utah drafted me to the best league in the world? Now it's not even good enough to get drafted. It's getting drafted to the spot that you have to get drafted to, or you're not going to a certain team. It grinds my gears to the max, especially when it's Toronto, because I know how cool this place is and this city is. I absolutely love it here. It's my hometown. So I love seeing players not want to come up here. It's great. And I just think players should be a little more grateful for getting drafted the best.
Flip
league
side
in
of
the world.
that, can you imagine if they had a camera on me all the time, how many shots of fingers up my nose they'd have? Just on the highlight reel, nonstop.
Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Not happy about that. But I just wanted to say, too, I know I talked to Reed as well, but I wish Dusty was here. But it was a blast talking to you guys all year.
Yeah.
I truly enjoy. You guys are really the only weekly and bi-weekly hit I have left that I do away from Sportsnet, and that's for a reason. So thanks for having me on. Yeah. And people of Edmonton make me feel really cool and special. So
well, anytime you want to pop on, you know the number, and we'd be glad to have you. People love you. You're a hit on the show, especially the visual, Luke. Enjoy your summer, and thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, boys.
Love it.
Hey, Luke.
Sportsnet's Luke Gazdic, and former Oiler. Always got a good story or two to share. As he said, not an insider, but a great analyst.
Yeah, he's more of a hockey peeping Tom.
Yeah,
I'm not on the inside.
Hanging around the grapevine.
I am. Yeah. I'm in the tree outside the window.
Yeah. Just like the person spotting Connor McDavid at Yorkdale Mall or whatever it was the other day. Hey, isn't that something? Hey.